What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. We got the latest Browns news and rumors on today's show. We have a lot of things to break down. A potential return of OBJ, a conversation I never thought we'd have. Maybe Baker Mayfield's going to go to Detroit, and I've got 5 free agents still on the market I think the Browns should be looking at. So let's start with the Browns free agent targets, and then we'll wrap up the video with the Baker to Detroit trade rumor out there. But first, let's look at my number 1 free agent target, Jadeveon Clowney. Maybe not number 1, but number 1 on the show at least. So Clowney still on the street. I'm guessing he's a little surprised by this. He figured he ought to be signed by now, but the longer this goes out, the more money teams spend, the less he's probably going to get. And you look at what Clowney did last season for Cleveland, and he had almost a career year, 9 sacks, a lot of that coming down the stretch late in the season, helping the Browns try to salvage the season and make some sort of playoff push. Now, what I wonder is, after Clowney has not been signed yet, could the Browns maybe get him on a bit of a discount? Before the Deshaun Watson trade went down, Cleveland was looking at signing him for maybe 2 years, $24 million. I don't know if they have that kind of money now, but maybe what they can do is try to get him maybe closer to $20 million and bring that cost down. The likelihood of Clowney signing with the Browns, 6.5 out of 10. I'll be doing this for every single player we look at today. I think it's more likely than not, just because there seems to be mutual interest and he's still on the market. So we'll put it at 6.5, right? Some one bite, everyone knows the rule kind of score. But what do you think? Weigh in on this one. Do you want the Browns to re-sign Clowney? S for sign, P for pass. Let me know in the comments what you want the Browns to do regarding Clowney. Next player. Let's bring Juice back. The Browns just released him a couple of weeks ago, if that. But after everything that's went down, after a change of the number 1 position in sports, maybe Jarvis Landry is interested in coming back on, maybe a little cheaper than he would have thought. You look at what Clowney did last season, 570 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not the, Landry, whatever. Not the Landry we all know him to be. And I don't know if Andrew Berry is running to go get a 29-year-old receiver who's coming off a knee injury and had a career low last season. But again, if you could get him discounted, you know the dog pound's going to go nuts if Juice is on the field with Deshaun Watson. It would be pretty exciting, we have to admit, if Landry, after everything that has gone down, decided, Wolf of Wall Street style, I ain't fucking leaving. All right, that would be pretty pumped. So, likelihood of that happening, I'm going to put it 6 out of 10. I just could kind of see another team offering him more money and Landry going, you know what? This will probably be the last time I get paid big bucks. I'm going to get an extra couple million elsewhere and just move on and go separate ways from the Browns. It's been a good 4 years, but time to maybe close that book. It would hurt, but it's hurting because the opportunity's out there, so we will see what happens. But what do you think? If you want Jarvis Landry to return, type his number 80 down below. Let's send some good vibes out there. Let's try to bring Juice back to the lake and, give him one last ride at the Browns on like a 2, maybe even 3. I don't know if we go that high. 1, 2, 3, somewhere in that range year deal to pair him up with Deshaun Watson. Let him do his thing in the slot. I've got a bit of a goal I want to reach. Can you help me reach 7,000 subscribers by the end of March? It is March 22nd right now, so 9 days to get it done. I know it's lofty. 800, a little under 800 subs, but if you're watching this for the first time, you want to help a fellow Dog Pound member out, hit that big red button and subscribe. Probably the reason why you clicked on the show, Odell Beckham Jr. Saw this on Twitter. Chops tweeted it out. Saw some other people on Brown's Twitter talking about a potential OBJ reunion to Cleveland. Here's the tweet, and here's the response. OBJ, comeback champ, LOL, from Martez, and OBJ saying, LOL, that's an interesting one. One, he responded. So that means he's at least thinking about it a little bit. And there's no Baker. So maybe that's what was holding him back this whole time, probably, from ever having the thought of returning to Cleveland. You look what OBJ did in 2021 between the Browns and the Rams, and yeah, he made Cleveland look pretty stupid, not going to lie. What he did with the LA Rams. May have even been the Super Bowl MVP if he didn't tear his ACL in the second quarter. Now, he is coming off that ACL tear, and I don't know when he'll be ready, but I don't think it's going to be close to weeks 1, 2, or 3. So I'm guessing he probably waits and sees how things unfold across the league and tries to chase another ring by kind of bandwagoning a team that's on a bit of a Super Bowl-esque run, right? I think the likelihood of this signing, 2.3, it would be pretty cool. I mean, it would be very weird because I never even thought we'd have this conversation. When I have done videos this past offseason about free agent targets, which I did all January and February and into March, I never once included OBJ, not even for fun. Every other team that needed a wide receiver did. Wasn't even on my radar in the slightest. But with no Baker, is this a conversation we should at least explore a little bit? What if OBJ could bring Jarvis Landry back? All right, that would be a pretty interesting 1-2 punch right there, along with Amari Cooper. Right, it is something I never thought was really in the cards. But if it's on Twitter, it's got to be true. So would you welcome OBJ back? Y for yes, N for no, right? Would you delete all the bad tweets and all the YouTube comments and go, OBJ, I was always on your side, never was riding with 6, just forget that part ever existed? I think I'd have I don't know if I have tweets to delete. I never really said that damning of stuff, but no, you don't delete tweets either, right? You stand by your old takes when it comes to OBJ. Next free agent target, Will Fuller, a name that's been tossed around, some Browns free agency rumors with the connection between him and Deshaun Watson in their time in Houston. In fact, I got the stats here of when the two were on the field together. And here's what Will Fuller did in Houston with Deshaun Watson at QB. 2,300 yards, 22 touchdowns in 33 games. 22 touchdowns in 33 games, that's not bad stuff. I'm not saying Will Fuller is that first-round pick he was in 2016, but he can't stretch the field. He is that deep threat that we always kind of hoped Anthony Schwartz would be, and I know it's still early, right, just 1 year in the books, but Will Fuller maybe, you know what, let's not even wait around and find out if Schwartz in the third round is a good pick. If Fuller's healthy, which is the biggest if in this entire conversation, he's a good signing. But between the suspension, just the constant injuries, really, we've never able to see Will Fuller play close to a full season. Now, he hardly played last year in Miami. He had that wrist and thumb injury, if I remember correctly. So could it be with almost a full year off and an off season, he's good to go? I'll put the likelihood at like 7.1. The reason why it's higher than the other players is we haven't even seen other teams really interested in Will Fuller. I'm wondering Will Fuller's agents, like, I've got one call, and it's the Browns calling you for 1 year, $4 million. Take it or leave it. Take it, or you're in the AAFL, whatever the new football league is that's coming up that's going to guarantee do great and put the NFL out of business, because that's how those always work. Next player to look at. I just wanted to toss him in and have a little fun. Julio Jones. I think if you're not talking about Julio coming to your team, you're doing it wrong, because it's March in football. We're in the second week of free agency. Haven't had a ton to talk about at this point after the trade. So maybe Julio wants to chase a ring in Cleveland. In those last 2 seasons, one in Atlanta, one in Tennessee, not good. 82 receptions, 1,200 yards. It's tough to see a player like Julio Jones, who we all remember being arguably a first-round pick in fantasy football, really fall by the wayside. But it is Julio Jones, and he's had those soft tissues injuries keep up with him in the last 5-6 years of his career. I'll put the likelihood at 3.6. I don't know if there's much interest on either side. I've seen Julio to the Colts, right? Follow Matt Ryan to Indianapolis and try and win a ring there with Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, and some rookie. But I haven't seen much interest on either side, so it's pretty low. I've got it above OBJ because I think OBJ may have just ultimately burned the bridge with Cleveland. I don't blame him for that with everything that was said to him on his way out. But it would be pretty, I don't know if exciting is the right word. It'd be fun for Twitter for a couple days if Julio Jones signed with the Browns. But who do you want the Browns to sign? Let me know in the comments down below who you want the Browns to go out and sign. Those are 5 names I put out there. 4 wide receivers, Jadeveon Clowney as well. Maybe I'm missing someone. Let me know what you think down below. Also, while you're down there, I got the link to follow us at rumble.com/Browns Report. It's another video platform service we've been talking about for a couple days here. We're just trying to grow the channel, ultimately. We've got over 6,000 subs on YouTube, and at Rumble, we are approaching 1K. So if you want to help show some support, show some love to us here, follow us at rumble.com/BrownsReport. Now, let's get to the Baker Mayfield side of the story. Baker to the Lions. Saw this tossed around some NFL rumor mills of a potential destination. Now, the biggest hiccup, I think, with Baker going to the Lions is the guy at QB in Detroit, Jared Goff, who is not a cheap quarterback. The reason why the Rams moved on from him. $31 million cap hit this season. $41.1 million dead cap. What that means is if the Lions trade for Baker and cut Jared Goff because they don't want to pay both quarterbacks, they're going to pay $41 million to the cap regardless if they cut Jared Goff. There's no savings whatsoever. Financially, it makes 0 sense. Unless Goff went out and had an orgy with all the coaches' wives, he's not going anywhere, right? There's just no way the Lions move on from him because of the financial burden. Now, let's say that orgy did happen. Well, if the Detroit Lions wanted to trade a pick for Baker, I don't think it works at all, right? They're not giving up a first-round pick. They have the second, and they have the Rams 32nd. Baker's not getting a first. And then you say, well, could Baker get a second? Maybe he could get a second, but not the second overall pick in round number 2. That's just too early. That's almost a first. All right, what about a third-round pick? It's also the second overall pick in round number 3. One of the first picks in that round. Maybe the pick 33 in round 3, that could be more realistic. The Lions are just not in a position to give up. Like, if the Lions had a later second or third, maybe. But I think it ultimately may be the Browns having to give up Baker and a draft pick to compensate a team giving up a second or third. Something I did in my video yesterday. Baker plus a day 3 pick, like a 5th or a 6th. And then you give us a second to help balance it out a little bit. What do you think Baker's worth, though? What will the Browns get back for Baker? Let me know down below. I used to think it'd be a second. Now it's slipping into third, and we're getting closer to that 4th round territory. I honestly wouldn't be opposed to Baker for a player, right? Before the Falcons traded away Matt Ryan and signed Marcus Mariota, I thought maybe Baker for Grady Jarrett. Like, what about Baker going for an immediate starter, a player that can come in, skip the draft capital? It would be nice because you gave up a handful of picks to the Texans, but you know the Browns need help at that interior defensive line. Is there a defensive tackle out there that a team wants to ship away, and they'll take a chance on Baker, a former first overall pick? Worth an idea. All right, to wrap up the video, though, I want to look at the breakdown of the Deshaun Watson trade just because yesterday, after we posted our Browns report, some news came out of some reshuffling in the picks involved in the trade. So to wrap it up, here is the final trade package. The Browns get Deshaun Watson and a 2024 6th-round pick. This is almost like when college football teams schedule a game 10 years out, and you're like, 2024? I don't even know. It feels like middle schoolers at that point. Texans get 3 firsts. This year's 13th overall, 2023 and 2024. A 2024, so this year's draft, 4th-round pick, and a 2023 next year's 3rd, and a 2024 4th. So ultimately, Houston gets 6 picks. The Browns get Watson and a 6th-round pick. That's going to do it for us on today's show. We're going to catch up with you guys later with the latest Browns news and rumors.